Welcome to the Reidsville Chamber of Commerce News and Views show. I'm your host, Diane Sawyer, President and CEO of the Reidsville Chamber. Today I have with me Mrs. Summer Moore, our City Manager.
Thank you. It's hard to believe it's already May.
I know, and it's all the things. If somebody adds one more thing to my May calendar, I might lose it for real.
Well, we're excited. You guys do a lot with the Chamber of Commerce and with your leadership and some of the great events you've had this past month, some of the great events you've got coming up. Like, I know we at the city, we're excited to participate, and I know a lot of our business community and residents are too. So thank you for everything you're gearing up for.
Yeah, we've got the She Means Business, and we've got the Night at the Grasshoppers, sponsored by Team Reidsville. So, and I think really, honestly, those are upon us. So by the time people see this, I don't know that we'll have room for any of those folks, but it is just good to know that they should follow along, because then we'll cycle through the fall events too. So, but yeah, we got a lot of stuff coming up, but it's also y'all's busy season when it comes to the big B word, budget. Oh my gosh, budget.
It is.
So you've gotten a huge chunk done, but now like the budget's due, right? Like it's coming due.
It is. As our Assistant City Manager and Finance Director told me yesterday, it's coming down to the wire.
Bless him.
He does a great job. Chris Phillips does. His department in finance does. And our department heads do a great job. Kind of just to let our viewers kind of know where we're at so you can follow along. So you still have time. So we actually had our budget work session at the end of April, kind of let council know where we are. We are at this time, we are not looking at any rate increases, not looking at any property rate increases or utility rate increases. So we've tried to, we understand that, times are really, really hard for everybody, whether it's trying to purchase basic services or basic necessities. This year's budget is really just holding that line without putting any additional cost on our citizens. So that's something we've really been working on, is how can we, absorb and move forward with some of the increased costs we as a municipality face. Just like with any general services, it costs us to buy more chemicals, energy cost, fuel is insane right now. So that was kind of the big thing that come out of the budget work session in April with council, was just to hold that line, because council and our admin team realize where we are as a nation right now with fuel costs and everything that drives fuel cost as a result of that. So just trying to hold that line this year. So where we are kind of now, if you kind of fast forward from April till now, we're putting the final touches on budget today and tomorrow, so we can get everything, today and Monday, so we can have everything printed for council on Tuesday night. So Tuesday night at our regular council meeting, which I believe is that May the 12th, May 12th, 6 p.m., you will have a chance, council will be presented the first look at the drafted budget. Put together. Again, there's not a lot to it this year. Again, just trying to hold that line, to try and be mindful of our utility customers and our taxpayers and not pass any fees on to them. They'll get their first look at it in May. If council would like a second work session, they have an option of having one on Tuesday, May the 19th at 5:30 at the Carriage House. If they do decide to have one, of course, we'll give notice and everything. And then from there, after that meeting, if they choose to have it, it'll be up for a public hearing at our June City Council meeting. So at that public hearing, again, the public will have an opportunity to, if they have any things they like about the budget or things they don't like about the budget, they have that opportunity to make their voices known during public comment. I will say this, I think there's sometimes a misconception about public comment for the City of Reidsville. Anyone can talk it during public comment. A lot of times, just for the record, we do have to ask your name and address. But, I think there's been some misconception in the past that you have to live or work in Reidsville to be able to speak. But no, you do not. You have every right to come and speak at a public comment. But if you're interested in the budget, please feel free to, follow us online on our website, or, feel free to reach out to us at City Hall. We do hope to have the budget available for the public to look at City Hall after Tuesday's meeting, once council's been given it. And then, of course, we'll have it on display in the library. So again, there's a lot of steps where the public can be involved between now and our June meeting. The June meeting just happens to be the public hearing. Once the June meeting comes around, if council decides to adopt the proposed budget, the budget becomes effective of July 1st of 2026 and runs through June 30th of 2027. So still have lots of opportunity to reach out to your elected officials, city staff, and be able to go through and look at the budget process, because we all feel like transparency is key, because that is your tax dollars, that is your utility dollars. You need to know where that money's going.
Absolutely. And let me say first, as the chamber president, I am very excited to know that you are so conscious of that, because when you told me, you let me know, hey, just so you know, like, this is where things are going, because it's not just citizens, right? It's our businesses too. And for me, we are all struggling, as you said. Things are really, really tight and tough. So I think that when that happens, and when you guys, look at what are we going to do this year? What can we do? This is when you all deserve so much, like, recognition and praise, not because you're toeing the line this year and not because you're not going to raise utility, but because you are so fiscally mindful and responsible, and that department that manages that, and your department heads, and that council and councils before them have been so thoughtful and progressive and mindful of the future and the infrastructure. And when things are good, a lot of times that is when we see increases, or trying to fit things in that we maybe had been having to hold. Or maybe at the end of the year, when you had some overages from a good year, you go ahead and purchase that equipment without needing the thing, to happen in the line item from a rate increase. So for me, this is when I say times are tough, but it's a cycle. We all know it will cycle. It will get better. It has to, by default. I mean, that's just the history and the nature of the beast. But I think this is a time where we say, hats off to you all for the hard work to be able to toe the line. And what led us here was when things were tough. And Chris Phillips and his team, and I have seen him do these presentations over and over the years. And, like, people just don't understand, like, what the state requires of you all, and, like, the rates and the percentages and the things that you have to toe the line on, because they make you.
Exactly.
And sometimes I think across the state of 100 counties, and gosh, I don't know the number on municipalities, but it's a lot. We realize that they're not always following what they're supposed to be, or they're behind on that. And so Reidsville as a whole has done a really phenomenal job over years. And I think you inherited some really great stuff, and then you've been able to put your touch on it. And it kind of blows me away, quite honestly, because it's a 12-month process. I mean, we've been talking about it in News and Views the last couple months, like we do every year. Like you said, you backed up to March or whatever and said, this is what happens. And it feels heavy right now. But, when it launches, fingers crossed for y'all that it does. And if not, it's like any other municipality that hasn't passed the budget yet. You'll get it done, but you immediately start fiscally managing. You're wrapping up last year, wrapping up any overages or whatever. And then you're already managing this year, so that we're constantly being mindful. And I am a nerd, like, when it comes to spreadsheets and stuff, but I could never dive into and never be what Chris and his team do. And so kudos to y'all for the whole thing.
No, thank you for that. And I do want to share, some positive news too. One thing that we noticed when we were forecasting revenues was our property taxes and what we're estimating to bring in this year. And I feel like this is very positive, and I want our viewers to realize this. So again, no proposed tax increase. However, we are looking at the ad valorem taxes to increase about $800,000. And that's contributed to the new Barn Streets apartments. So you know, the Barn Street apartments are coming online. So that's some additional tax revenue. We've had some of our industrial users meet their incentives. So their tax base is now coming online. And then you're seeing a lot of infill development. If you ride through a lot of our communities, there are a lot of new single family homes being built in infill development. So I think when you see that increase in your tax revenue without touching the rate, that is a clear indication that Reidsville is growing. You are seeing some residential and commercial growth because the city's not touching that tax rate. And based on projections, we can project about an $800,000 increase because of these properties coming online.
Which is amazing, and that's great because now there's more of us to help pay the fees. And that's, I mean, and that's layman's terms, right? But like, you're right. I mean, being able to have that income come from more people paying the tax versus the tax going up is woohoo for all of us, which is why we talk about all the things that we talk about. So, well, that's fun stuff. Not really. I think, but it's important. I love the transparency that you and I have been able to create on this show and just being able to talk about stuff. So let's talk about some other stuff. I know, we have some fun stuff coming up, but also you were telling me there was like a whole hero, like, feel good story, and you wanted to tell me about it.
I do. So thank you for this opportunity. You know, sometimes we don't get all the good feel good stories in local government, but last night we had a really good one, and I just want to give props to our public works team. There were several individuals working on this particular story last night. So I don't want to give specific names because there's just too many that made a team effort. So yesterday evening, we got a call. Public Works ended up being dispatched out from a neighbor who said that they thought they heard a dog barking and possibly trapped in a storm drain. So Public Works ended up getting dispatched out. They go, we camera the line, and sure enough, here is this poor innocent little dog that has got stuck in a storm drain. Public Works, Mr. Josh Domina had called me and said, you know, we can try and, you know, it's not going to be an easy task to get the dog out, but we can certainly try. They did end up having to cross some properties to be able to get an outlet to get the dog. At some point, the owner realized the dog was missing. The owner, you know, was very devastated when they learned that the dog had fallen in that. But our Public Works crew probably worked a good 2 or 3 hours out there last night, and they were successful in getting the little puppy dog out. It is just, you don't get to see those stories, but it just goes to show you, like, all that our Public Works and our teammates do across the city. I mean, I know there were some people from fire involved. It's just an amazing where the community will come together over something, you know, that meant a lot to that dog owner. But I just thought that was a good little feel-good story to share, that, you know, you may not always see us, you know, visible during the day, but some of these departments work day and night. Just like our water and sewer department, you may not see them out because they're at their plants, but our team goes above and beyond regardless of the hour of the day. And I just wanted to give every teammate that was involved in that rescue just a shout out because they earned and deserve that.
Yeah, for sure. What a terrible situation as a pet owner to feel so helpless. Because I mean, if it took your team,
It did.
and it's their infrastructure, and it took them that long to get, the dog owner would have never been able to, you know, access and get that. So I mean, I'm not sure I even really understand how the dog ended up where it was.
Don't know that we do either.
You probably haven't gotten all that info yet because it just happened. Yeah. But that is awesome. And you know, all of your team at different points, you know, we interact with them and they do different stuff. But I'm going to tell you, that Public Works crew, they are something else. They really do so many things, and it is kind of mind-blowing, and you don't realize it until you hear about it later. Speaking of team, I heard there was quite the competition the last time that your teams were going against each other inside of your team.
So we are very thankful for the opportunity that our mayor and city council afford us. We do what's called Battle of the Cup. It is the police department's a team, fire department's a team, The rest of us are a team, and Public Works is a team. And it's a great way to do some healthy exercise, but also a way to kind of break down those silos to show, we all are a team. We have our respective departments, but it's an opportunity that we've done every other month to be able to come together as a team and have some friendly competition. The last friendly competition we did was a softball game. It was brutal. I got to say, we got some really good softball players on all teams. But we did have the winner of this year's Battle of the Cup, because the softball game was the final battle. And I have to give kudos and props to the victor of the 2025-2026 Battle of the Cup season is the Reidsville Police Department.
Oh, look at PD.
They absolutely did an exceptional job in all the battles this year. Softball was probably the most brutal, and they absolutely took it home and took the trophy home.
Yeah, I heard they were literally like hitting home runs.
Yes,
like out
over
of the
fence, out of the park. Yes, it was a good, friendly competition. And just to see everybody kind of have that fun side and be able to see that, there's times in communication to where, Public Works has got to work with the PD's got to work with fire, to where to break down some of those silos that we're all one, we're all the City of Reidsville, we're all a team. I think this is a great opportunity that the city's been doing for years to be able to show that teamwork and show that we are Team Reidsville as a whole.
Yeah, and, people may say, oh, well, that sounds interesting. But for me, it's kind of a practice what you preach. And that's for us. We have been talking so much about culture. We talked about it at coffee yesterday. We just had our annual staff appreciation where Ancora was the sponsor. And because they have been rated by Modern Healthcare for the last 4 years as a top employee, a top employer, and just their culture and what they do. And they're actually their HR director speaking at She Means Business about creating that culture. But it matters. And, the last 2 shows today that will be new for the month for everybody to view, we've talked pandemic again, like COVID, and how much COVID, and people want to say it didn't, but it did. It changed everything. And one of the things that it changed was people working from home, people working from mobile or anywhere, or in general, the great resignation, the change in careers, trying to find something. And a lot of it came out because people stood up and said, life matters and what I do every day matters. And I want to do something that I enjoy, that I'm passionate about, and with people that I care about. And so we're bringing back like this idea of having an office culture, having a team culture, wherever your office may be, if it's outside or if it's, and just being able to really get to know people and their interests and their strengths and their weaknesses, because that's what makes you a better team. And so I say kudos to the council for giving you guys this opportunity and allowing you to be, because you, of all people, should be the example of what an employer should look like. And if we want Reidsville to be family forward, if we want Reidsville to have great places to work, and you guys are setting those examples. You're the first certified family forward. It's amazing to me. And I just, for a municipality to not be so rigid and stiff, there are things that are things. There are policies, there are laws, there are things we have to follow. But in the times that we can do things, you guys rise to the occasion every time.
And I think you nailed it too. Just having the support of council. One of the things when we do new employee orientation with everyone is we really want each employee to have a purposeful work environment, to be able to come to a place that you enjoy working, where you feel part of the culture and the family. And I think that's something, I've really got to give props to our mayor and our elected officials, even looking at budget. One of the things, trying to absorb a lot of the cost from the operational side, but to make sure that our employees are being, looked after and cared for, because, ultimately they're providing the services to our community. So, our budget does look at a 3% COLA for the employees. We're also looking at something called a career ladder that would be implemented in this year's budget to reward those employees who have went above and beyond in their career currently, or who are looking to advance further in their career, meaning when you go and you get those certificates, whether it's advanced law enforcement certificate at Reidsville PD or it's a pesticides license at Public Works, you are getting rewarded for that, because that provides another layer of service that to our residents that I don't think people realize. And I cannot say enough about our council. I've worked in previous jobs to where councils maybe are a little bit more conservative as far as employees and what we're able to do, but I can't say that for the city of Reidsville, since I've been a member of this team. Just the dynamic that our council sees for our community and our employees, like, really makes it a place you want to live, work, and play in.
It's funny because it's really interesting. You've actually had enough time now that where the mayor has changed and where some of the council members have changed. And when you came on board, that was one of the things I think that the council was so excited about, was the ability to build on what they had already done, but then for you to take it even and further. And under your leadership and your recommendations, I think that they're supportive of that, but a lot of that came from you and the things that you wanted to see happen and how you thought you could make things better with your experience. And I mean, I can't say enough good things about how all of this, people talk to me. You have a lot of employees and we interact with all of your departments all the time. And, people like to be a part of the city of Reidsville and like to be a team member. And so it's just kind of we're in a different era in the world. And that's, I think, something that we need to raise up the good stuff and celebrate the wins.
No, and I think you put that perfectly. I think, the culture we're trying to build with our employees, the culture you're building with the business community, we just all need to work together and personify that in the community and make sure that everyone understands, we all want everybody to be part of this culture. And I think you guys do a great job. I think that's what makes our partnership a very thriving and successful partnership, is we do try and help, rely on you guys for the business community aspect of it, and then us more of the residential. And I think, as we've heard the mayor say it before, it's a great marriage, because it brings those two together to show, we want every person, whether you're in the business community or a resident, to feel part of this team.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, speaking of that, there are some really great things happening, because you've got a team that's fully staffed now, and they have just hit the ground running with the season for the farmers market and the concert series. So market and economic development have been working on a bunch of stuff. So let's kind of tease that for the summer.
They have. We've got some new teammates in that department that have really hit the ground running. That whole team, though, is just a fire team. They are always, and I know you get to work really closely with them, and I know they really appreciate your partnership and leadership. But they've got some really fun things planned this year. I know one thing that we're definitely looking at is a 250th celebration for America's birthday. We've got a great partnership with, I believe it's the Rocco magazine.
Yeah, the Rocco is Home.
Rocco is Home.
The foundation.
They have been a great partner with us to look at doing a parade for the 250th on July 4th. We'll have a little bit more information about that as we go through the season. And then, we've also got our farmers market. So many times, just to put it out there to our community, we have a lot of farmers, a lot of artisans that attend our market. You don't necessarily have to go to Greensboro or other areas. You've got a great resource down here at Market Square, and I'm so glad to see the farmers market kick off for this season. You've got our concerts that our team's been working really, really hard on to get that up and going. And then, you can't forget Fab Fest. As we talked earlier, that's gearing up. That'll be here before you know it. There's so much planning that goes into the events that you're seeing take place now and in the next couple months. Just like, with your events, like She Means Business, you started planning for that last year, the day after She Plans Business for this year. So I think it's just, to tell people in our community, thank you, because just because there's an event, it didn't just come together the day of. There was a lot of effort and heart that goes into the planning of those events. And our department, our marketing and economic development department, does a great job. Just like you guys do a great job with your ribbon cutting. Super excited for the Scoops ice cream downtown. Oh my goodness.
It's so good.
If you have not been, you need to run and go. That is such a fun addition that I'm so thankful for to have in our downtown, but especially this summer with all the events we've got going on. The staff there is super friendly, super nice, and their products are amazing.
And they're fresh and homemade. And like, you're not kidding, you better run, because they will sell out every time there's an event, because it is crazy.
It is amazing.
I actually got a text from a former board member who's still a chamber member, who's, likes to tell me when there are things good or bad. And this was a message I got on a Saturday night, and they said, oh my gosh, at this ice cream place, they said I had to drive up the street, go around, and come back down to try to find a parking space because there are people everywhere. And I told your team, I was like, I really think this might be the tipping point. I think we are at the tipping point of some of the things that are in the works. And so it's just exciting. All of it is really going to, I think you're going to start seeing more people downtown without just events, just for regular, like, I came down to get some ice cream kind of stuff. But, I think it's funny. We're talking about events a lot today. But I think people sometimes don't understand that for you and for me, the reason we put so much effort into these events, and like, we have kind of two different missions behind them, but really at the same time, it's all the same. It's this, again, same Team Reidsville. Some people think we're an events organization, or they might see the events that your team do and think they're just an events team, but really it's about driving traffic. Really, it's about tourism. It's about celebrating the citizens. It's about celebrating the business. It's about community engagement, because if anybody knows anything about our chamber, and you're going to be hearing a lot about this now that we are getting ready to roll out the strategic plan, we are going to be better about telling our story. And our story is that it's community, it's connections, and our businesses are going to be successful. Our industry is going to be successful because of the environments that we're creating. And to have those thriving environments, we want families to come out. We need feet on the street, right? We need our businesses to be networking and meeting people. And I can't tell you how many times I literally could almost bet money on it and count that at a Christmas tree lighting, somebody will walk through that door and say, hey, I've been meaning to get by here. I really want to start a business, or I'm really looking for a space downtown. Who do I talk to? It never fails that I'm in the middle of trying to figure out where Santa Claus is, or something's happening, and somebody's trying to talk to me about it. And it's exactly like what this was built to do. And so I think I wanted to take a minute to say that's why that's so important to us.
I'm glad you brought that up, because I think that point needed to be made. It's not just let's have an event to have an event. There is a strategic angle for events and for expos and for seminars to bring that community aspect to it.
And we will kill a sacred cow in a minute. You've already done it. You've been like, yeah, we're not doing this again, or it's going to look different, or we're going to do something different. We don't have a problem saying, oh yeah, that's not working. But I do think that it's important, and you should celebrate things. So y'all have got some cool stuff coming. You mentioned the 250. A lot of people are celebrating and putting their spin on the 250. Should be celebrated. It's very important.
Absolutely.
I think that we are out of time. But is there anything that we didn't cover? I know we talked about budgets, we talked about events, we talked about this great story that puppy dog, that's so cute. Is there anything else that you wanted to talk about?
Just appreciate the opportunity each month to at least get, the city's message out there and kind of show that we're accessible. If you've got any questions, appreciate your leadership and the platform that the chamber offers for our business community. So just thank you for the opportunity to come on the show today.
Yeah, and I missed you while you were gone, so
I
I'm so
miss
glad you're
being
back.
here. I'm so glad to be back.
I know, I'm so excited. All right, well, that's it, I guess, for today. Thank you. All right, folks, as always, you can find us in the heart of downtown Reidsville at 140 South Scale Street on our social media channels and on our website, reidsvillechamber.org. So stay tuned for more from Team Reidsville.